So are we going to talk about the movie and book that you have?
We can, but I feel like I'm nowhere going to finish it, so I don't know if you want to, like, talk about something else.
I kind of want to talk about it because I have things I want to say. We don't have to, like, talk about it in its completion.
Okay. Alright, well, one weekend, I was on a kick. I was watching Keanu Reeves movies. I was watching Speed, and then I was like, what else does this man make? I want to get to John Wick, but I haven't watched none of them.
I have something to say about that, but go ahead.
I want to see John Wick, and there's some other stuff he's had, but I was like, yeah, I don't stuff, so what can I get? So I saw Dracula, and I was like, oh yeah, and I had seen it like long time ago. I don't know if I finished it or not, but I was like, you know what, let's rewatch it, because I've just rewatched Speed, and I've seen that a lot of times, so why not? So I go and I'm watching it, and the very beginning scene of the movie. I'm talking about the movie. I'm going to talk about the movie and the book. Comparisons and whatever else. So that's what's going down right now. So right now I'm talking about the movie. So the movie, I think I told Desi, I was like, I don't think it's going to enrich your life when watching the movie. But if you want to watch the movie for this discussion, by all means do it. And,
I got through 30 minutes.
So at least you know the part I'm about to talk about.
All right. Then I went and watched Overwatch.
Which I think is probably a good choice. Because it took me a while to get through this movie, too. And I'm like, why am I trying? I was just trying to get to the end, I guess. Just trying to finish it off. But, anyway, at the beginning of the movie, there's some kind of war going on. They explain it, but I don't quite remember right now. And
it's the Crusades.
So, the Crusades. I knew it was some kind of battle. I just saw like the bad, like someone sticking on a pole. Anyway. There's some like dark gray silhouettes going on and some red background. But we're not talking about the aesthetic or
the special effects.
How they filmed it. We're not talking about filming. We're talking about the story, the plot. So I was like, oh, it's Dracula. I've seen it a lot of times before. It's got to be great. So I see this battle going on, and and I guess, is his name Dracula? Is that his real name?
So, okay, so just a little bit of backstory. Dracula is based off a real person whose name was Vlad the Impaler, and he was...
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was Vlad the Impaler, and I do believe that he was, they call him, like, son of the Dragul or son of the dragon.
I heard of that Dragul and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I think that is how he got the name Dracula, because he was son of Dragul or whatever.
I heard that, and it just went in one ear and out the other because I didn't,
Because you don't watch as much History Channel as I do.
I don't. I do not watch the documentaries as you do.
So, yes.
So he goes off to the Crusades, and he's like, I survived. Let me go back home to my lovely bride. And the lovely bride has been, lied to, and she thinks that he's dead, so she throws herself out of the building. And then he comes back, and he's like, I did all this for God, and this is how you, thank me, blah, 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 blah. And then, which I don't get is he takes his sword and he stabs the cross. The blood starts coming out.
Where did that come from?
That's what I want to know. Where did this blood come from? Like, this is a piece of metal. Like, just... And so then he, takes a cup and drinks it, and I guess that's what turned him into whatever he is now. But I was like, this makes no sense. Like, I thought you had to be bitten or, drink the blood of. Yes, drink the blood of, but...
Isn't he, the original, though?
I guess he is the original. But that still doesn't make any sense.
Well, look, you know what?
Because, okay, and in the book, they start off... That's not even the thing they start off with. Maybe later on, because I haven't read the whole book. I'm on chapter, I think, 8 or 9. But, they don't start the book off like that. So, the way the book is set up, it's like you're reading through people's diaries, journals, letters to each other and to themselves. So that's how the book is set up. I don't think the movie would be that interesting if it was January 25th. I had porridge today, and
Jenny's throwing another tea party.
So basically, all this happens, and, Dracula and whatever. So in the book, we start off with Jonathan. Jonathan is on his way to go see Count Dracula or whatever. And
Dracula, sorry.
Don't get that. And then he's on his way over there, and so he's like, writing. Like, okay, let me back up to the movie. After all that, the drinking of the blood.
The blood.
They click over to Jonathan and Mina. And they're in some garden somewhere, and they're talking to each other. Like, he's like, I must be gone for a month, to do.
And just to point out, this is 400 years later.
Yes.
Yeah. we got a 400-year time skip. Here's Jonathan and Mina. Okay.
So they're like over there, like, oh, I love you, and I can't wait for you back. All this lovey-dovey, whatever, and whatever, right? And then they have a kiss. And then you see some random peacock feathers.
What was that?
I was like, I feel like they didn't know how to like fade it out. So they're like, peacock feathers. I was like, okay, I'll take that. And so then he's like, next thing you know, you see Jonathan. He's like, you see him like he's writing in his journal. He's making stuff. So now I'm gonna plop over back to the book. The book starts off that Jonathan is like writing. He's just writing about his travels. So he's like, oh, I had this delicious meal today, and he only mentions Mina twice in this thing. So I'm like, where's everybody else? Where's Renfield? Where's Mina? Where's Lucy? Where's all these people? So he's like, oh, I had such a delicious dish, and I need to tell tell Mina about it when I get home. I must get the recipe, And so all this stuff happened. And so then it starts kind of building up. So he's writing, and then he gets to a certain part, and he's like talking about like the culture and everything like that, and how he likes certain things and everything is fun. And so then he also, because this is all his journal, so it's journal perspective. He goes to this town and he enjoys all this stuff, and then he's like about to leave to go to Dracula's mansion, and the person that he's staying with is like, please, don't go tonight, and he's like, but I have to go because they're waiting for me, they're gonna pick me up, and he said basically this woman was becoming like hysterical. She was like, please don't go tonight, you go tomorrow morning, do not go tonight. And he was just like kind of like basically saying that this place was very superstitious, and it's just like a superstition, and like, he's just like, I'll be fine, And the fact that she couldn't persuade him, she was like, well, please take this crucifix, cross necklace thing. Okay. So he's like, okay, he didn't really like believe in it or whatever, but he's like, just to, I guess, to pacify her, he takes it. And so everyone's like, do you have to go? He's like, yes, let's go. In my mind, I'm like, if maybe they're superstitious, but if everyone around you is telling you don't go tonight, maybe you shouldn't go tonight.
I mean, hang out for 8 hours. You just need a long rest. Go in the morning.
They basically said, go in the morning. We'll take you wherever, but don't go tonight. And the reason why everyone is spazzing out is because it's like the witching hour of that time of that place. So he's just like, don't go. Like, go tomorrow, whatever, but don't go tonight. He's like, I gotta go. Dracula's waiting for me. I must, whatever. So while he gets in the carriage, getting ready to go, then people are like doing these signs, these hand signs. And he's like, he asked someone in the cart, like, what's going on? Like, what are they doing? And like nobody would answer him. Now, and also they like to mention that I guess people don't speak English, so Jonathan is speaking German in this spot. So he knows that some people do speak German, but they're not like, they pretend like they didn't hear him or whatever. So finally, one person speaks up and says, all that signing is basically them trying to, I guess I'm trying to paraphrase it, but they're trying to like give him like good wishes, like kind of like
warding off evil spirits.
Warding off evil spirits, trying to be like, So he's like, oh, so then he starts feeling like he's like, I have to go, but he started feeling unsettled for obvious reasons. And he's just like, oh, okay. But he's like, but it's just superstitious. It's just superstition. I'll be fine. I'll get to my destination. I'll be fine.
When a whole town is signing as you are leaving, I don't know, maybe spend the night, you know? See the sights. Have another delicious meal. Like...
And they told you the reason why everyone's so spooked is because it's like the witching hour is at hand. Keep your butt in the house. But he's like, no, I must, I must go. You know, I'm a gentleman and I must go. And so he has his crucifix and he has all this stuff and he starts riding off. And sometimes you just gotta go. So that's what he did. So he goes off. And so while they're riding, Jonathan is like, hey, oh, and that's the main character guy, Jonathan. I guess I didn't say his name. He's like, hey, do you mind if I get out of the cart and walk a bit? And the dude was like, no, it's dangerous to get out the cart. Stay inside. So he stays inside, and then you start hearing like wolf howls. So he's like, okay, cool. So while they're riding, the driver is like, hey, you know, it's late. How about, he gets to the destination or where they're supposed to be, and they wait there. But he's like, oh, friend, there's no carriage here for you. You can't stay here at night. You can't stay by yourself. Come with us, and we will come with us to the next town, and we'll take you back tomorrow morning. Come with us to the next town. And he's like, well, I don't. He's like, come on, he's not here. I can't leave you here. Come on, next town. We'll bring you back in the morning. So before Jonathan can really say his piece, Dracula's driver drives up. And he's like, hello, you know. And so he drives up and he's like, so the drivers are talking to each other and he's like, oh, I did not think you'd, be here, blah, blah, blah. And so, and so the driver was like, And he kind of like I don't remember all the wording, but he lets the driver know, Dracula's driver lets the driver know, I knew what you were trying to do. You're trying to take Jonathan on to the next thing. He's like, because the guy was like, oh, and he's like, I know. He said it, like in a covert way, but he's like, I knew what you're trying to do. Because what the driver was doing was, he was trying to hurry up through the place so that he would intentionally miss the pickup and take Jonathan to the next town and then bring him back. But I forgot what the saying was, but it was something like the dead travel fast or something like that. But the guy comes. So the guy's like, takes Jonathan's stuff and puts it into the carriage, and then they head off. And, the other people go off. And then, let's see. I'm trying to figure out where I want to cut into the movie, but I think I'll continue this and then I'll... So Jonathan gets into the cart, and the carriage.
Carriage?
And
we know
the rolly thing with wheels.
We know what you mean. The caravan, the Cadillac. Sorry.
So he goes in, he gets in there, and then he's like riding and stuff or whatever. And I think he mentioned something to the driver or whatever, but he realizes that he's like, I feel like we're just riding around in circles. Like, I don't feel like we're going anywhere. So then he starts looking outside for like markers. And then he realizes we are going around in circles. And so Jonathan's like, I don't know if he's doing this because of like the superstition and like the witching hour. Like, I don't know if he's doing this on purpose to try to like, he doesn't know. But he just knows, okay, something's up. So then finally, like they're still going. And then he starts hearing all these wolves. They start getting louder and hungrier, and he starts fearing for his life because they're getting pretty close. And the dude is like, driving the thing. And so finally, it's like they stop the caravan. Oh, not the now you got me saying caravan.
Sorry!
They start the cart.
Carriage!
They stop the carriage. I might say cart the whole time, but y'all know. Stops the rolling
carriage.
Wheels.
Yes. The mode of transportation.
And then so like these wolves are coming at him and doing whatever, and he's like saying all this stuff and doing whatever, and like Jonathan is watching through the window like, oh wow. And basically, like, he says something, and the wolves just start countering back. Like, they're standing on the ground, but they're backing up. And all this kind of stuff. And John was like, what in the world?
Take me home.
And the man hops back in the carriage and was like, says a little... And they keep going. So while they're going, like, Jonathan's looking out the window, and he just sees blue fire just randomly in different places, not burning up anything. He just sees this blue fire, and he's like, what is that?
Time to go home.
And then he rolls into Dracula's castle, and then they shut the gates. All right, flip to the movie. Flip. So in the movie, during this scene, or this section, is like, no one says don't go. No one tells him don't go. No one says anything.
I was waiting for that part to pop up. All you see is that woman with the little crucifix, and they just...
Yes!
I was like, where's all the stay in this? No, they just left him there, standing by himself, and they said goodbye. Okay.
That's the whole thing. They dropped the stuff up to and I was like, at least in the book they waited, or they were trying to take it to the next place. This woman was like, here, take these clothes,
Goodbye.
There was no like, in the book, it was like this build up of like, oh snap, like this, and then in the movie it was just like, I was like, there's a lost opportunity here. Because you don't know how urgent it is.
Girl, they only got 2 hours. I gotta get it done.
So that's basically it. And then you see him, he's riding around through the thing, and then there's like this thing of red, blue fire around the driveway or whatever.
Yeah.
And they ride through it, and then they get inside. And that was it. I was like, the book has so much. Okay, I mean, you only got 2 hours. All right. The book is like very... So... Get inside. And I wonder if there's something about getting inside, because in the movie, he's like, is he gonna cross the passageway? Because it's like you're watching him, like, is he gonna step the threshold? So I'm like, okay, there must be something important. The fact that we're paying attention to Jonathan walk
across, yeah. And then it's like, okay, I'm gonna jump across it real quick.
Go for it.
He invited him in,
but he wouldn't move to him.
True. And because part of me is like, because you know that whole thing about like the nowadays stuff, like Vampire Diaries and blah blah blah. Vampires can't come into your house unless you invite them in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I thought it was weird that it was very opposite. Like, you have Harker, Jonathan, who's standing outside, and it's almost like Dracula has to do something in order to get him to come across.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I don't know, the way that they point your attention to like Jonathan walking across the threshold, I'm like, is there something important about that? Like, Chekhov's gun, like, don't show the gun unless you plan on shooting somebody with it, right? So I'm like, why are we paying attention to this? Again, I only watched 30 minutes of this and walked away. But
they in the book, it was just like, oh, kind of like the same way, kind of like come across. He invites him inside, but he doesn't like, how normally come to your house, you go to the door, you're like, oh yeah, he didn't do any of that. He's all far away and everything. But they didn't like, I guess, put so much effort on him crossing, but they mentioned that he steps across the threshold. And so, like, in the movie, it's like, we might go over time. Just like
right. I was looking at it. I was like, I'm down.